Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday, May 4th Select Board meeting. This meeting will be broadcast. What did I say?
March.
What?
You said May.
Oh, May. Oh, okay, we're in March, I guess. March 4th.
Beautiful sunny
I had the
day.
M, right? March 4th, Select Board meeting. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded by Foxboro Cable Access. We'll be going to an executive session. I'll be taking a motion from Deb to enter into executive session.
Motion to enter executive session for union negotiations and strategy discussion regarding contract for the firefighters Union Local 2522 FPFA.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Roll call.
Roll
Oh,
call.
roll call, that's
Mark,
right.
yes.
Bill, yes.
Stephanie, yes?
Debbie, yes?
Dennis, yes.
Okay, we shall hope to return just right about at 7 o'clock into open session.
Will you just tell Steph, so this is just something to read in during the Gillette settlement request. If you want to read it, Bill, you can.
It just needs to be read into the record.
Just when you do the Suffolk part. You're all set.
All right, we're live.
So we should start with the,
Yep. Good evening. Thank you. We're just getting out of executive session back into open session. We'll start with the pledge. Chief Grace, will you lead us?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm having a
yep, we'll do the
little
motion.
problem getting in. Okay,
Deb, you want to do the motion?
yeah, anybody for
Citizens input.
citizens input? I don't know what's going on tonight. My head's all over the place. Anybody for citizens input? Anybody online?
Nope. Sorry.
Deb, you want to do the motion for,
Yep. Motion to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the town and the firefighter union local 2522 FPFA.
second?
Hold on, just as a point of order. We really got to go into the public hearing for Walker DBA
Yeah.
next, because that was at 7:05.
Yep.
And then the next item was that. So we came out of open meeting, so it was a suspended
Yep.
action.
So, motion
Yep.
to open the
So
public hearing?
I don't think we have to open the public hearing. We already
Well, to
did that.
reopen it, just-
Continued.
yeah.
It's more of a continuation. It's more at this point finding out, as we heard earlier, that they're all up to date, correct?
Yes, so Rally Point has paid in full for what was due for 2024 and has paid up through their February 1st tax bill on all invoices for real estate, personal property, and water.
Yeah, so really,
So we have to close the public meeting, right?
Yes.
Make a motion to close the public hearing on Geo Walker DBA Valley Point Inn and Pub Inholder All Alcoholic Beverages License, AL 250051, due to non-payment of taxes, 9 Mechanic Street.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Close, right?
And now the motion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Motion to discontinue the hearing on the suspension or revocation of T.O. Walker Rally Point due to all back taxes and fees having been paid.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Thanks, Deb.
Now,
Maybe discuss a little bit about what we did about the vote.
Yeah, so we went into executive session to have some discussion. Paige and Finance have been working really hard with the unions to, we have 9 contracts, Paige? 9?
7.
7, all ending and needing to be renewed, so there's been a lot of work going on. So we went into executive session so we could hear, Paige had come to an agreement with the firefighters union, and so we were to hear how that went about, what the numbers were, and the board is ready to come into open session and take a vote on
So
the...
either one of you want to present the basic facts of the...
Sure. So, yes, we do have a union contract ready to be signed. It was unanimously ratified by the fire union. The cost of living increases for the 3-year contract, it runs from FY '26, '27, '28, is at 2.5%. And we have also included some educational enhancements and other provisions to, non-monetary provisions to tighten up the contract.
Any other discussion before we take a vote by anybody on the board?
Nope.
Okay.
Motion to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the town and the Foxborough Firefighter Union Local 2522 FPFA.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great job. One down.
One down.
6 to go.
Hopefully the rest will be this easy, right? Okay. So, okay, next we have outdoor hours work request for Gillette Stadium.
I think we have Scott coming on Zoom. That's, I think, what Katie's doing. So Chief Grace is here. Oh, no, and we have the guy from Suffolk Construction is also going to be on Zoom. So just to provide a little context for the viewers at home, I think the board probably knows, but when the construction is going to occur at hours that aren't within the required, like on a Sunday or after 5, or I can't remember whether it's 5 or 7 now, when it's done outside the work hours, a request could be made, and the select board has to approve it, and the police chief would issue a permit, and then it would be monitored.
So
So
what
we
are
do
they
have-
requesting as far as actual hours?
I'll let
See right here, stand from 5:30 to 7. I do. Then they want to add 7 to 11. I guess we can, oh, he's here. I was going to just add that this isn't the first time they've requested something like this, and last time, I believe there was very little
Noise.
noise
Yeah.
or...
Although we should
something,
caution,
but-
this is a little closer to residential, so if you remember, north end zone is kind of,
Yeah.
we got a little more buffer.
Yeah.
This is being a little bit on the residential side, but
Okay.
still think it can be managed through, proper monitoring.
Okay. All right, great.
Who's the gentleman from Suffolk?
Greg Gagba.
Ask him to talk.
Yeah. Can't
hear you.
Can't hear you. Are you on mute?
See Greg Gagnon?
Nope. Can you hear me now?
No.
Yep.
So,
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, how about, just introduce yourself and just give us a little background on what the hours will be and what you anticipate, how long.
Sure, yeah. So Greg Gagnon, VP of Operations with Suffolk Construction. And very similar to what we did on the North End Zone, we're looking to just start operations a little earlier in the day. Really just taking in deliveries at 5:30 a.m., pretty silent operation there. And then getting into excavation and structural steel erection. And during those times, really we would just be in the mornings warming up the equipment earlier during the cold operations. And then in the afternoons, as the weather gets nicer and better and the days get a little bit longer, try to capture a little bit more working hours into the evening hours. And really it would just be excavation and concrete pours. So light noise, typically. Steel erection could be where it's the loudest, but even then, we would try to mitigate any noise after 5 p.m.
And what work would go from 7 to 11 p.m.?
As we're getting the building up and operational, we'd be putting the sides on the building. In the summer, we'll probably be looking to start operations inside the building, and that would really be what we do at night, that into the later hours.
All right, because I would have less problems with inside work than I would with 11 p.m. outside work that would interfere with the neighbors and kids.
Yep, no, outside work during the summer would mainly, our operations for steel erection go until about June time, and we would just be doing detail work, so welding and fitting up of small pieces and cutting deck. And then, as we get further into the project, we would probably start to work indoors till later hours. Our steel erection hours would taper off around 8 p.m. anyway.
Okay. Yeah, Greg, that's exactly what you guys did last time, right? It was
It is, yes.
very similar?
Yep, and we'll have a monitoring program, just like we said before, and like we did before, and we'll work with the chief too. If he gets complaints, we'll stop operations, take noise measurements, restart the following day.
And did you have a letter there or something to be read?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. We have an email that came in that, from Ben Greenfield, and it was asked to be read into the record.
Is there an address?
Let's see.
No?
No, no address. Make sure I'm not missing it. No, I don't see an address. You don't know his address by any chance?
Greenfield? Ben Greenfield?
Greenfield?
Yeah, just go ahead.
Okay, I'll just read it. He lives on North Street, though. I'm a resident of North Street, and I would like to oppose Suffolk Construction's request for a blanket authorization for off-hours work from now until August 2025. I would specifically oppose this request for the months of May through August. The excessively noisy work to be completed should be done during normal working hours so as not to disturb the local residents. I am specifically requesting the rejection of the months noted, as those are some of the few months available to enjoy the outdoors in Massachusetts. I would not be as opposed to specific off-hours requests to be filed by Suffolk or specific days and for specific purposes, with an explanation as to why it would not be possible to complete during normal working hours. I apologize if this is not the best way to submit this request. If you could please let me know the proper channel to oppose this authorization, if this is not the correct one. Thank you, Ben Greenfield.
He's at 101 North Street.
101 North, okay. Whereabouts,
Look that up.
Chief, I'm sure you would know, like the back of your hand. Like, is that very close? I mean,
Yeah,
North
it
Street's
is.
pretty long.
205 is the end, so it's
Okay.
probably close to the corner. 98 is by the main property, so
Okay.
it's part of my entrance exam.
Kate, did this just come in, did he call or anything to her, and then you said, please put it in writing, like,
He only emailed.
okay, all right, just wondering if there was any other conversation. So I respectfully understand what he's saying. Obviously, the board is gonna have some discussion about this before we vote. So I guess we'll get into,
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chief, you
Yep.
mind coming up?
Yep.
Otherwise, we'll
Yeah.
get yelled at that you're not in a microphone.
exactly.
So the north end zone, when that went on, any noise complaints that you can remember?
So we built a nice reporting process that if any residents had a noise complaint, they would call the police department. We would then immediately notify the building inspector. The building inspector would have a point of contact at Suffolk, make the call. That operation was cease and desist for the day, and they would follow up with them to find out what was the nature of the noise to prevent it from rehappening again. Is Scott on right now? Do we know? He outlined a couple conditions in his email as well.
I do have those here. Do you have them? Do you want them? You want to talk to him about them?
Yeah, I got them on my phone. I pulled it up either way.
That's a little easier with paper.
No, this is easier. So just to kind of give the board a little reassurances, he's asking no heavy machinery can be operated, or can be operated only from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And that's only Monday through Saturday, no Sunday. All exterior work must be conducted exclusively during normal business hours as specified above. As you mentioned, Bill, you'd be concerned with exterior work going on at 8, 10 o'clock at night in the summer. Interior work may proceed until after normal hours with continuous noise monitoring as outlined in the request. All work must be carried out in a manner that prevents any public nuisance. Any noise complaints shall be promptly addressed in accordance with Suffolk's request. So that workflow is in place. He does put in this approval is contingent upon the approval of the police chief and any additional conditions the chief deems necessary, but it's really the board that approves it, and I just issue the license. And lastly, is failure to comply with any of these conditions may result in revocation of the after-hours work privileges. So I think we have a lot of control in regards to revoking it, but most of the times we're able to mitigate it. Again, as the town manager mentioned, we are not on the other side of Route 1, or the other side of the stadium. We are definitely more near the residential areas, so there are some concerns with winds and echoing off the building and how that will affect the residents, but we can monitor. I think we're pretty good based on the weather we have right now. Everybody's windows are closed, so I think we'll get some leeway, but when we see July and August come, I think hopefully they're in interior by then.
Yeah, and I agree. You know something, of course, I don't live right by the stadium, so I want to make sure this is not of any disrespect for anybody who lives up there, but if we don't at least give it a try, it'll just take, you know, the noise that is happening will just take longer. You know, I mean, the project
I
will take
can't speak for the
longer.
construction firm.
Yeah, the
but-
project will take,
Yes.
project will take longer if they don't have the extended hours, so.
Yeah, I'm quite sure there's a tight
Yeah,
timeline on
yeah.
this.
So I think, you know, my opinion would be that we did give permission last time, and based on what Paige said and Chief said about that we have a lot of control, I myself would feel comfortable. And then if we have any problems,
Right, I think that,
And I think there was, if I recall, and this is just a memory, I think there was some kind of built-in expense that if the town incurs any expenses on behalf of the building department, that the contractor would pay for it. For example, after hours, on-call hours for the building inspector. I think that was going to be on the shoulders of Suffolk. And I don't know if we have to write that in, but we should come forward with that, just in case Scott or his team is working on weekends.
I
And,
think that should be in Scott's letter, quite honestly.
yeah, that's, exactly. He can,
It's his cost for the most part, unless you have a ride up there, then it becomes police cost, but.
What about when there are games and events? What's the plan?
well, we'll work with our security model in regards to that. I would say that a lot, during the large concerts and football games, that's going to be shut down. Just for the point of egress at that part of the location, that's where we bring all the teams in. So I maybe internally, through a tight security parking lot, they may be able to do some work, but I don't see that as a priority. As a matter of fact, I think that they're going to be excluded from those dates.
Yeah, Chief, you're correct, but we would be shut down during any event days.
good.
Debbie?
I think it's a win-win. You have that in place for noise complaints, and it's going to be fast-acting, and people will know. I
Absolutely.
think it's going to work.
Yep.
Okay. Want to take a motion?
Make a motion to approve the outdoor off-hours work request to extend to 5:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. through the end of August 2025.
Can we add, as outlined in the building commissioner's letter?
Yeah,
Yes.
As outlined in the building commissioner's letter.
I'll second that.
Okay, and under discussion, of course, all those watching that might be affected, you know, your avenue is to, you know, call in if there's an issue, and the town will do its best to work with Suffolk to make sure it's taken care of. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
And just to clarify, Chief, what number do they call? Is it like just 911 or is it?
Well, they can call
non-emergency?
911.
I mean,
believe it or not.
I mean, you don't have a non-emergency line, do you anymore, or do you? If there's a noise
We do,
complaint,
but we also, I know everybody say, why would you call 911? Because the mindset is, no, don't tie it up. If you need police or fire services, you call 911, because we can support it. It goes through SEMREC, and we have a workflow with SEMREC that trickles down to the station officer, and off we go. And what they'll do is, as the call takers, they create the call, so we can create the log of how many people are calling in if we're starting to build a little bit of a high tempo that we can manage. So either or.
911's the best way, just so you end up with it logged?
Yes, absolutely. It's, it'll say what's your emergency, it'll be a noise complaint.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chief.
Okay, thank you. That was an easy one.
Okay. I guess we have, Chris, are you here for National Grid easement?
Traffic jam.
Good evening.
Hey, Chris.
So, before you have a request from National Grid. At the moment, they're looking for a grant of license at 120 Spring Street, pole number 49. They are doing some upgrades to their system in that area. They're actually going to run a loop from their dead end on Spring Street around through Mansfield on North Main Street and loop over to Moore Street. It'll add some redundancy in the area. Moore Street's had some problems over there. Some vehicle versus telephone poles have been the last couple of accidents that have caused outages. This will give them some backup redundancy so that they can actually close some switches and get power back to more people in a shorter time frame. So they have requested a easement. The process we've been following is that we give them through this board a grant of license, and then the easement goes to town meeting following for town approval. So this piece of property is owned by the town of Foxborough. Their expectation is all they have to do is add a guy wire that'll be outside of the town layout, the roadway layout on the property. It's a vacant piece of property. There used to be a house that the town rented out on it. We demoed that years ago. So now it's just a vacant piece of property with, is my expectation, no intended use. Again, this is just for a guy wire to be added from the telephone pole to support that pole from the tension of the wires on it.
Anybody got any questions?
No? Any improvements when National Grid is coming up here is a good thing.
Yeah, that area is a trouble area.
Motion to approve a temporary license for the conveyance of electric easement at pole number 46 on Spring Street.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
And then the next one up, National Grid easement for 76 Main Street. I actually had a conversation with the engineer, Michael Parent from National Grid today, and he says that there's no easement needed there for the service upgrade. So there's no pad-mounted transformer, there's no underground utility work, it's all overhead from the pole in the straight over to the building, so that one can actually come off the list.
Okay.
Motion to vote no action.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
So I'm going to stay where I am.
Okay.
Keep going while you're hot.
Next up, sewer service agreement. Back at May town meeting last year, we were approved to petition the state to extend the term of the Sharon's Foxborough intermunicipal agreement from the existing 25-year max up to 99 years. The special act was approved by the state Senate and House of Representatives on December 19th of 2024. The town of Sharon has approved the amendment to the existing agreement to go from 25 years to 99 years. In Foxborough, we actually will have a dual vote. The select board has to approve it as well as the Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners. So the commission has discussed it and is in favor of it, and will take an official vote at their next meeting. It should be probably 2 weeks from now.
Was there a reason that it went from 25 to 99 versus some other? Was it funding or?
No, we're maxed out in that agreement by state law. It can only go up to 25 years without special legislation. It's something that we've sold sewer capacity to the town of Sharon, to the Sharon Gallery project. There was a push from one of their larger tenants who is planning to open in a couple weeks to make that a long-term agreement. So for Foxborough and Sharon, it just commits that we will continue to operate that sewer system within the town of Sharon more than 25 years. I mean, it won't be something I was going to deal with either way, unless we have to amend it between now and then, but this just puts it out there for
When would the 25 years have been up?
23 years from now.
Oh, so it's a new one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris, is there something in there? I know you and I had quick conversation, just because obviously the roads from Cannon Forge and Summerfield and connect to Sharon Woods. If for some reason they needed something had to be done to that sewer line and it was going to affect coming all the way in, is there something in place, like some type of mitigation with them, that they would pick up the cost if, I know there's been already a lot of work done up there,
Yep.
and hopefully everything will be good, but if something were to happen as it's coming through, whether it was, it wouldn't be the town until it left, Summerfield and Sharon Woods,
Yes.
as it left out there.
So the agreement spells out really what the historic agreement was, where the gravity sewer system in Sharon has really always been the responsibility of Foxborough. The Sharon Woods Homeowners Association has had that financial burden. In taking full ownership of that system, Foxborough is now responsible for that gravity system. The force main system from the Sharon Gallery project to that gravity system falls to the private entity that is running Sharon Gallery. And that's spelled out. There's a couple different agreements and between the town of Foxborough and the Sharon Gallery to actually sell the sewer capacity and for them to purchase that. We have an agreement for that. And then we also have the agreement between Foxborough and Sharon as far as who's responsible for what.
Yeah.
So we'll continue to maintain the gravity system in Sharon all the way through through Cannon Forge. So if there's roadway issues that are associated with the sewer system, that'll fall on us. If there's sewer main breaks and that need to be repaired, the gravity system will fall on the town of Foxborough to deal with. Anything that has to do with the force main is considered a private force main, is on the Sharon Gallery entity to deal with.
Can I ask a question, why though? Why is the town responsible for anything that happens on their side?
So we collect all the revenue from the sewer flow. So the town of Sharon has a small, I don't know if it's a $5 fee added onto the billing. So they read the water meters for all those Sharon customers. They turn over all of that revenue that's connected for the sewer based on our rates. So Sharon does not have a sewer department. With the exception of this piece of sewer, they don't have sewer in their town. We're collecting all the revenue, so we're responsible for the system.
And that was part of the agreement with Summerfield when they the town bought our excess sewer capacity, was they took over the sewer line, the main sewer line. So if anything with us, it would fall on the town anyhow.
Yeah.
So as a resident, I'm like, okay, we're covered, but I was just thinking that, like, I was asking more as a taxpayer.
Yep.
With the town having to pick up, so I was just curious.
Yeah, so that's built into the sewer rates,
Yeah.
the user rates.
Thank you. Motion, Deb?
Motion to approve the intermunicipal agreement as approved by the Foxborough Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners, entitled Amended and Reinstated Intermunicipal Agreement by and between the town of Foxborough and the town of Sharon for municipal sewer service as presented, including addendum number 1 thereto, and to authorize the town manager to execute said agreement on behalf of the town of Foxborough.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Okay, next up, Maura. We have a discussion about the strategic communication plan.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Well, I'm Mara Buckley, who you all know. I'm a communications specialist. And yeah, so we're going to go over the strategic communication plan, which is a 20-page document we've distilled into 10 slides, so it's a little bit shortened. Oh, wait. So this is just an overview of what we're going to go over, all the focus points of the plan. So why do we need a communications plan? Is probably the first thought. So we need a communications plan because good communication is not just sending out a message, right? It's making sure that the right message hits the right people at the right time in the right format. And this is going to be a plan that's going to keep us strategized and organized, consistent, focused, and will ensure that we're speaking in one voice to the residents about the things that they care about in the way that they care about them. And at the core, it's really all about building trust. This is what this whole plan is based on. It's building trust, it's building reliability, because when people feel informed and connected, then they're going to want to participate more. So for the scope of the plan, this looks big, but it's big because it is big. You know, communication is a wide range. It covers a little bit of everything, so it really doesn't happen by accident. So no particular order, starting with continuous improvement. We're committing to continually refining and updating this plan based on what our residents need at that time. Social media content, we want to be strategic and focused and purposeful with our social media. We want it to be accurate, timely, and more consistent. Promotion of civic engagement. We want the town departments to keep the community involved and informed, and we'll help them do that. We also want to strengthen our town branding and identity, improve our website, keep our information clear and accessible. We want to ensure that our PR strategies are helping us stay ahead of the issues and deal with them when they come up. And then when a crisis hits, we'll be ready. We'll have a plan to support public safety and SEMREC while keeping residents informed, especially in those times of stress. So it's all about making communication stronger, smarter, and more efficient. So key messages and themes. So it's not just about what we're saying, but it's about how we say it and how people are perceiving us, right? We can actually leverage this to our advantage and use it to build these trust and transparency goals. So we can be intentional with every single message we send, every flyer, every newsletter, every post. They seem small, but together they build up this foundation of trust and enforces all of our values. You know, these are our values. And we want to show that in the way that we communicate with residents, right? So when we communicate well, we're not just informing, we're building a relationship, we're strengthening those ties, and we're ensuring the community sees us as reliable, responsive, and engaged. So these are our top ones. We want to be accurate, authoritative, timely, creative, accessible, qualitative, trusted, and consistent. And these are our goals. We want to be transparent and trustworthy, fiscally responsible, reliable, proactive, timely. These are all the basics, but every single thing that we do is going to be, you know, foundationally based here. So areas of focus. So zooming in a little bit now, these are the 3 areas of focus and is centered around internal communications, external communications, and crisis communications. So for internal communications, our desired outcome is that, you know, when the town is informed and we know what's going on, we can better serve our residents and we can collaborate better across departments. So first way that we can support this is with support for communication responsibilities. We're making sure that everybody, from employees to volunteers, boards, committees, they're all trained, they have the tools that they need, the information, the guidelines. We've been standardizing documentation to make that a little bit easier, just being super clear with those expectations. Second is regular information sharing. You know, bi-weekly operations meetings. We have department head meetings every month. We want to foster that collaboration, make sure that everyone's informed and connected, and optimizing technology. So we always want to maximize the existing tools that we use while exploring better new tools that could make us more efficient. In external communications, So this is obviously everything towards residents. So we want a well-informed, engaged community, right? That feel like they can trust their local government, that they know that they can come to us for news and it'll be reliable, it'll be up to date. And this section, again, centers on 3 things. You can tell I like 3s. So consistent town branding and messaging. We want to make sure that everything that we put out is instantly recognizable. It makes sense, it's clear, it's professional, and it's resident focused. Strategic planning for engagement. Communications really needs to be at an early stage of planning most events and projects. They can't really bring us in as an afterthought. So we've created a process already, actually, that we've embedded a communication process within every major project decision and event so that we can have that communications plan from the very, very beginning. And enhancing accessibility and transparency. Again, this is leveraging technology to deliver those timely, accessible content, making our website more ADA accessible, ensuring everybody stays informed. And for crisis communications, we want to make sure that everyone has reliable access to timely information during incidents, right? Especially when people don't know what's happening, they don't know what to do, they might be stressed or worried. So this is going to be a plan that builds on that strong foundation that we established earlier for crisis communication. So the first step is just to develop a crisis communication plan as part of our emergency response plan. So we'll be working with public safety and key personnel to define roles and responsibilities, to map out some of these strategies so that if we're ever in that situation, we already have everything done. We want to establish an emergency communication system that will, ensure these quick bits of information out to residents. And we want to integrate with public safety protocols. So we want to establish clear written protocols for supporting public safety during these emergencies. So this is really about preparation. We want to build all the right systems now so that if anything ever happens in the future, we'll be ready to go. And of course, we are committed to refinement, we're committed to updating, so twice a year. Right now we've got it tentatively for October and April. We'll have a communications review committee. They'll meet, they'll discuss the current plan, some of the past projects and events, and kind of go over all the performance indicators to see if any changes need to be made or should be made. It's just regular check-ins to keep that plan really strong and going well. And that's it. So I have the full printed out versions of the plans for you guys, which I'll leave in the back for you to pick up. The plan goes into more details on each of those and maps out specific ways that we're going to accomplish every single one of those little goals. Yeah. Is there any questions?
This kind of brings me back to when I used to work. What's your assessment of the communication system as it exists today? In other words, you have departments, you have department managers, you have a flow of information from the board to the town manager, down into the organization. And then just as critical and important is the flow of information from the people on the front lines back up to the department director, back up to the town manager and leadership, and back up to the board. What's your assessment? Agendas, minutes, the whole thing in terms of a really tight internal communication structure, which then flows into the external communication process.
Yeah, so specifically for the boards and committees, that's a good example.
I'm talking more about at the department director level, that's
At the department head level?
departmental level.
I think it could be improved. We do have monthly and bi-weekly meetings. Of course, everything can be improved. We are bigger, we've grown as a town, and we have more to talk about. So I don't think that our current communication plan internally reflects that, but I think that it could with a few tweaks.
Okay.
What's your consideration as far as the vehicles that are available to you today? Are we missing technology that needs to be put in place? Are we looking to upgrade technology to make some of these things work better?
We're okay. There are definitely, I love technology. There are definitely things that I want. Paige has heard about them, sorry. And there are things that we absolutely need. Some of them are, like our website's not very ADA friendly, and that needs to be brought up to date by 2027, like legally, absolutely needs to be done. So that would require purchasing a software a tool that's gonna do that for us. We're okay. We could be better. I'd love to update the website at some point, but technology-wise, we're not cavemen right now. We're doing all right.
And as far as communicating with residents, I mean, I think that would be, especially in crisis, how well is our plan known at this point with residents as to what to do if there is an emergency? Obviously, the 911's the easy one, but,
Yeah.
you know, if there's a major storm coming and we're encountering power outages and stuff like that, how do people currently know where to go to find out?
Right now, our biggest emergencies will be covered by SEMREC. You know, like if there was a tornado or something crazy headed towards us, SEMREC can do that through reverse 911. But it's those middle emergencies, like a water main break, something like that, that we don't have a way to quickly speak to residents. So Paige and I have been working on this already. I think we've landed on a mass notification system. So we're just starting to finalize that. That will be a new technology that's going to fix that gap. But right now, we really don't have a way to reach them quickly, unless they are avid social media users, which I don't know if anybody's that avid.
No, great presentation. You did a great job. Good to see we're not cavemen.
We're not.
Good to hear that, but obviously there's always room for improvement. But I like the idea of that one step below reverse 911, that somehow you guys are close to coming up with a program to get to the townspeople.
Yes, very close.
Yeah, we've made our selection. And the other thing we've been working, Maura and I were just talking about it today, and Chief Keller here keeps getting roped in. He's not listening, but is
Yes, you were called.
yeah, bringing you up again. So we want to, like Maura mentioned, we have ops meetings and we have department head meetings. And one of the things we're talking about, mostly for us, because our public safety officials are so expert in crisis management and dealing with crowds and all the things, but we aren't. So one of the things we're asking to work with public safety on is doing these tabletop exercises where we practice. And Maura even today was like, Chief Keller doesn't know this one. She was like, we should do it once a month. And, you know, just like have a little exercise, because it really is like, we don't know what we don't know. And these guys do, but they're going to be in the thick of it. So that's one of the things we're starting to look at too, is how do we best support the residents? How do we best support the town? I mean, we did have a tornado warning last year and I didn't know what to do, honestly. You know, there's no basement in this building. I called Chief Kelleher. I'm like, what are we doing? We all got in this hallway here, you know, but I mean, that's just at this level. And then, you know, I remember some resident walking in the middle of tornado to get a COVID test. And I'm like, you're driving? I mean, so we have no way to reach anybody. We've been looking at that. And then things like the school bus issue. Remember when we had, you know, a little detour? It might have been helpful for us. I know the school can do it, but sort of an example like that. There's a tree down and suddenly the kids aren't going to get home and we know it, and school will work with school. But there are ways to reach a segment rather than everybody. But it is going to be important that the residents sign up, because that's the breakdown, is once we get this program, folks, it's not reverse 911, so they actually have to register. And, you know, and I'll warn everybody, don't do what I did in Franklin. I did email, phone, home phone, and cell. So every call came triplicate, and by the end of it, I like, stop. So only sign up for one if you need it. You'll get it everywhere.
So is there any, and I know this was a taboo thing in the past, but is there any consideration to doing something with a message board at the center that can quickly be updated, that can actually put out information?
It's on my plan.
You know,
That would be this board, I mean, that's a common thing, you know, that's a this board thing.
I just think, I mean, the schools do it for all their stuff, and quite honestly, it's one of the few ways that parents get a lot of information.
The biggest stumbling block was Mr. Offalat.
I don't know.
Okay, so now, sadly, he's not with us anymore, but that could change, and we could certainly,
Because I think it can be done very tastefully in
Oh.
a fashion that looks like what's there but is electronic. And again, when something like an emergency that's happening like that, and there are people driving around, it's a way to communicate, because if they're not sitting at their home or they're not on a phone,
And we
they're
could
not
do
gonna
it
get
quickly, and it
Right,
could
you-
flash
You could do it
if
in a
needed.
second.
Yeah.
Exactly.
we
So-
already have the two
Right.
areas
Right.
of both sides of,
So I hope you incorporate that in at least something to
love
be
it.
brought forward, because I think it really is, you know, it's time.
A lot of people drive around the rotary and
Yes.
see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it
Well,
is.
nothing is worse looking than
Well,
when we put
hell,
the
we're
big,
putting the DPW,
big sign, you know what I mean? You know, like,
That's
you think of
classy.
that, you know, about voting or something coming up, so, you know, like I said, and no disrespect to Mr. Othelet,
Right.
and we know that common is very important to a lot of people who've lived here for a long time, but there was nothing worse than looking at that, so I'm sure we could find something that's a
well,
little
and I think we've done everything else on the
tasteful.
common. I mean, it's
Yeah.
fully updated with LED lighting. It's, you know, we've done everything that you can do to modernize it except for this one feature. So,
Yeah. Because I think you could see the common during Christmas from space. It
Yeah.
was so well lit up.
I'm sure you could. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Very good.
and,
Nice job.
One other comment, I did get, I know it was posted on Facebook about the master plan, and like I said, only, don't want to step on your toes, because you might mention it during your update, that only, at the time, 87 people had taken it. So I had somebody mention to me that it was very hard to find, like they found out because somebody said, oh, have you taken the survey? And he said, no. So when he went on, now, this person is telling me who, you know, I mean, I think everybody knows I am so technology challenged. So I'm like, wrong person to be, you know, but is it easy to find, or could we make it easier, something that we feel like, is important? And, you know, and that only, like, for me, I think maybe just 87 people, I don't know if that's just lack of interest in taking it, or whether it was the knowledge
Again,
that it was there.
I think it's communication issues. I think,
Yeah.
like I said, something around the common where everybody in town drives around and sees it.
Yeah.
You know about it, then you know where to go look for it. But if you don't have those type of vehicles, you're not going to be able to get to 90% of the community. It's
You could
just-
also ask Marilyn Rodman. They did it once for me,
Yeah.
back when I was doing the housing production plan. We could
Yeah,
see
I
if
can
they'd
send them a
use their
message.
marquee. They don't always do it, but they might be willing to do it for something that important.
Yeah.
So that might, in the interim, since we won't have it. And
Yeah,
then,
message them.
Maura, maybe we could just throw it on the front page of the website, and
I
so
can
that
put a button
folks
there.
can just
Yeah,
get it
it's
right
quick-
there.
It's quick access, yeah.
Yeah.
I can
It's
do
funny that you say that, Bill, because I don't know if anybody else remembers this. I want to say, I'm trying to think of when it was, but there was a message on the board, and I think one of the letters had fallen, and so I think I got like 5 phone calls, and it was mostly people that wasn't even people I knew. And they're like, did you see that? And for some reason, I think it might have been when the election with Trump and Biden, and it was something there, and it was very derogatory, and I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, the sign on the common, the sign, and I'm thinking, like the big marquee sign, not the marquee, but the big sign there, and so I got in the car and I drove up, and it was just on, I believe it was like by Doc's house, on that far side. This side was fine, and it was the other side, and it was just a letter had fallen or something, and just changed the whole word. But it was like 5 phone calls in like an hour, just because
Well,
of
we
they
get
had
those
driven
calls
around.
when the typo, so first of all, that, it's very hazardous to be doing that sign changing. It's, I think, a senior volunteer who does it now. They're out there in the weather, holding up the thing, doing it. Occasionally, there's a typo. And that's very bad. We get a lot of calls, but then those people have to go back out. I mean, it's not even a matter of we could just go on a computer and fix it. We have to find the person, get the letters, get out. So we can't fix them on
And
demand.
do I remember somebody saying there's only like one key or something?
Probably
So-
only one key.
So it wasn't an easy fix either, because you had to find out who had the key to
Yeah,
get in
yeah.
to change the letters, and,
Quite honestly, that's
Yeah.
why the schools did it, because of the safety issue and trying to get people to do it on a regular basis. Our process now delays communication because
Absolutely.
it is so manual. Whereas literally, you could sit at a desk, type in what you want to change, and it could be there 10 seconds later, flashing on the screen. And so I think that makes a big difference.
And if I remember correctly, the Lions wanted it digital and acquiesced to the,
Yeah.
we could certainly talk to the Lions when we're ready.
and how do we go, is that something that would have to go to a town meeting vote to switch to do
No,
electronic
board,
or
it's just
anything
us.
like that,
It's
or?
our
We might have to run it
Yeah.
through Scott Shippey in the building, the zoning to check on the sign bylaw and see where we
Yeah.
fall on that. But beyond
It's
that, I
us,
think it's
yeah.
your decision.
Yeah, well, that's what I kind of thought, but I was thinking to myself, was it just, I know this has been going on for a long time.
I think because of the way the zoning, signed by law is currently written, the Rodman thing had to get a variance from the wording because they technically weren't supposed to be able to get it. So we probably would have to do that for ourselves. And the reason for obviously doing it is because we don't want every building in the center of town to have, flashing signs type of thing. But this again is a community communication, network that could greatly improve our abilities. Thank you very much. You did a nice job.
Yeah, thank you, Maura.
Great presentation.
And for residents at home, please register for the newsletter. Maura's been doing a great job with this newsletter. It's packed with information. We might be scaling it back a little bit just because it's been so much information. Maura's pretty much spending so much time, and we've gone kind of a little crazy on the newsletter. But we might either shorten it or do more beefy one every quarter, but have like a quick one-pager every week or every month, I'm sorry, to try to keep the news every week. Want to make it easy for more. But I hope that residents will go and look at the newsletters that are on the front page of the website. You can look at all of them, and they're just packed with information and facts and tidbits that people don't even know. So, thank you, Maura. All right, I think I'm up next.
You or is the CIP?
Brandon and I spend a lot of time together now. And Marie has been busy working a lot, just so y'all know. She's in the background, working like crazy over there. So on Saturday, last Saturday, March 1st, we held the Capital Improvement Plan Committee meeting. We had Bill Yukna in attendance. We had Mike Brown from the AdCom, and then Chris Gallagher, Amy Burdos, and me in attendance. Brandon was there, and Marlo from the AdCom attended as well. Then we had department heads come in. So just to clarify for residents at home, the CIP process is where any expenditure that's going to cost more than $25,000 and with a life of, I believe, 5 years, anything like that has to be put in through the capital improvement plan. And it's a 5-year plan. In fact, we asked departments to submit their requests for years out. It might change, it might be just a thought, but it's something we want to track ahead. So we did have the departments all submit their requests, and Saturday was the day the committee reviewed all the requests. You do have a copy of the details in there, but for example, we were going to be doing a strategic plan, so we voted to fund that. There was information systems, as we all know, everything runs on computers now. IT and Aaron Heyer are busy upgrading our systems and maintaining those, so there's a plan to improve that. The police department had another drone, motorcycle replacement, a cruiser replacement, and some radios. So again, more critical items. Fire, it's the engine and lease payments, and then a replacement of a car. And then over at the public safety building, there's some HVAC system repairs that have been put off and need to be done. The schools, we had some a Hearn carpet refresh, buses and vans, technology and networking, office copiers, a Hearn library furniture refresh, and a Hearn music refresh. So those are all through the schools. Public Works, we had a front-end loader, detention basin mower, wood chipper, asphalt hot box, skid steer loader, a dump truck, and a work van. Those were all approved. I'm going to skip over. I'll come back to community center. So we have the health department vehicle replacement. That vehicle was what, 15 years? Well, very old. It was like 2012 or something. It was old, and so that's to be replaced. In the library, there was an elevator replacement submitted, but through discussion with facilities and whatnot, clear that the elevator does not need to be replaced, and there were some issues over there, maybe with sensors. It looks like it's working better now, so we did put $50,000 in there so that if anything starts to slip again, or if they want to go in and look at some controls and sensors, they have some funds in there. It is the most heavily used elevator in the town, and as Bill explains, it's half floors, so it means that there's lots of sensors and lots of stops, which makes it more prone to malfunction. Then over in the water side, there's a water main replacement. That's an annual plan they do. We have a lot of asbestos concrete piping. As we see, they break often, so they're always in the plan of upgrading those. It's a backhoe and loader and an asphalt box. Those would be funded out of water and water sewer receipts. And then we also have Chapter 90 for money for street reconstruction, and then the meals tax is for street and sidewalk construction. So all told, the grand total of the CIP request was $5,852,488. And the CIP committee did vote to approve this plan. You'll see that on page 2 of the handout. That's what was approved. So we will plan on bringing this forward to town meeting if the board so approves.
And just, obviously, page 2 is important because of the breakdown. Not all of this is funded through free cash. Obviously, there's the ambulance revolving fund, and, water and sewer rate payments and stuff. So really, of the, $5.3 million, just about half of it, or 2.665,865, is coming out of free cash. The conclusion here was that we left about only about 31,000 in free cash for the end of the year, above the $2 million that we have set as a goal, as a retention goal each year. So as you can see, we've taken that $8 million number between town meetings and between the normal capital needs, which capital only gets funded by free cash, down to our annual carry forward requirement. So.
And I realized I skipped over the community center because I wanted to make sure. So that is as a result of, as we've come in, we had to pull together an estimate very quickly last year when we went to town meeting. We did our best guess with estimates for sewer connections and, electrical and all the flooring, everything, and the costs are coming in a little bit higher than we anticipated. So for that reason, we're putting in this additional funds to cover that. Still a fabulous deal. I took a tour of it today. All the flooring's in, the stage looks phenomenal, the lighting's going in. It's incredible. They're doing, just so folks know, that Mark Craig, through the Community Senior Center, will do tours, I believe, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, if folks want to sign up, so you can go get a tour of the building. But Bill, did you have anything to add about Community Center?
Yeah, I think first of all, we have two big things Brandon's gotten out to bid for us, which is the elevator and the sewer. The reasoning for the biggest part of our increase in request was originally we had estimated about $250,000 for the sewer connection, but in bringing the sewer down Main Street, we have to leave connections for each of the properties that we pass, which is escalating the price quite a bit. Unfortunately, the town's water and sewer department does not have a betterment charge, so if we want it, we have to pay for it. They benefit. We do have a connection with one neighbor who is looking to build and has paid for part of the design fees already as kind of their contribution to this, but nobody else will be involved right now as it stands by the water and sewer rates. So that's a fairly good size increase of about $200,000. There were a couple items that were never really anticipated initially in our estimates, need to be done, but they weren't part of something we thought we would do in this part of it, which was dealing with internal communications. We thought we could potentially use what was existing in the building, but we're putting in an updated system because it wasn't as good as we had hoped it to be. And then we obviously have security systems being added at a higher level, cameras, door sensors, that type of thing. So there was $100,000 between those two, and the third item was with the elevator. Elevator was originally estimated at $150,000. Our current estimate is $250,000. However, with those two being out to bid before town meeting, we'll have a much better number on those much larger items. And hopefully we won't need the $650,000. It could get worse based on, what's going to happen with materials and stuff like that. But with them being out to bid right now, hopefully we're ahead of that game. I still think the sewer is the absolute right thing to do for any public building if we can. This would be, other than the joint public safety, which is a longer term plan out to put that on sewer, this would be the only building that doesn't have it. The Taylor, we've already bought the capacity, and when the contractor, under the grant that Chris has put together, is able to get down North High Street, we'll be able to connect to Taylor. So all schools will be on it. Obviously, Town Hall is already on it, it's just for the long term. It makes sense, to do it. However, in the short term, we will have the old septic system up and running so that we can open on time.
And just to clarify for that, again, for the folks at home, the senior center as it exists today will close on May 2nd, and then the new senior center, community center really, will open on May 16th. So those are the dates. There will be a 2-week sort of pause period while we move out of one and into the other and get up and running, but that is the current plan.
Yes.
And not to forget that eventually we're going to sell that property, make a few bucks off of that too.
Yes, with the rezoned.
Which is why we rezoned.
Right, it has a much better value to us. I think again, I went through today as well earlier. Yeah, I was there probably just before you guys were. But the upper level really is coming into its own right now. It will be used differently when we first move in than it will be eventually once we take the lower level down. But the lower level is also in construction. We have an individual in there right now doing a lot of the wall and adding wall structures, window structures and stuff like that internally to what we need. So again, once we can get the two big items understood better, the elevator system has to go. But I believe that's within this month, so we will be able to hopefully start moving forward there and get a more finite number as to what we really need.
Yeah, and something, as we've been talking about some of the additional costs, so we were, 3.3 million originally?
3.2.
3.2. So even with this money, like anyone that's kind of asked me that they're, like we talked about that the sewer was going to cost more, and then we had a short-term, very low-cost fix to get open on time. And I mean, basically what I've said to people too is, overall though, like we were looking with the design plans, it was like anywhere between 14 and 17 million. And that was how many years ago? So we, so overall, this is still a steal for the town, and the money, so if anyone is watching and they're wondering why, because it sounds like a lot of money, $650,000, but if you look at the big picture in the project, and by the way, we all know, any project that anyone does, I don't care if it's for the town, in your home, the costs always end up a little bit, higher than we anticipate, or you find.
Not on Bill's school projects.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I will have to say, we're in a new era as far as construction. We're seeing prices, what we used to see on construction for the town, $400 to $500 a square foot. They're now $800 and $900 and some $1,000 a square foot. And it's just, it's a matter of, you want to call it inflation, you want to call it, lack of supply, whatever you want to call it. But everything we've gone out to do, whether it's been communication cabling to this building, is double what we paid just a few years ago. So while I would be conservative and estimate high, I don't think I would ever double the number unless I had information in front of me that kind of showed that's where we're going. So it's just, it is what it is. But again, I echo exactly what you're saying. It's a phenomenal building. It's extremely well built, 4.5 acres of land, lots of parking, good access from the roads. So I think we're going to be in really good shape, and hopefully the number doesn't, equal or exceed this number. So.
Yeah, did you guys fund everything?
We did.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
We
there was
reduced a few
dam-
things.
There was a dam removed, and that,
Yeah.
once that was removed, that we were able to do. And we did have that discussion at Marlowe's urging as to whether, he was sort of saying, well, don't just fund, prioritize. But we went through, and there were, because of deferrals and whatnot, we all kind of rated everything as a 1 or 2. There were a couple little 3s, like, I think someone mentioned like a copier or a carpet, but still, we were hearing that the Ahern's carpet is 25 years old. So it's like, could it go another year? Of course, it could probably, but it's 25 years old. It doesn't owe us anything, so they put in the request, so we did support that.
And I think the town in general, when it comes to facilities that we have, whether it's kids and teachers or whether it's community using, we have turned the page a number of years ago to maintaining and not having to replace things all the time. So by putting money in each year onto these type of projects, things last longer. And so I think it's, to your point, it's 25 years old for that building. Every building, even though it seems like we've built every building over in the last 25 years, they're all already getting up to being, 10, 15 years old.
Yeah. Time goes quickly.
Very quickly.
Building, when did we move in here? 2017? Are we already coming up? Are we here 8 years?
Yeah. So.
Well, and as long as we're leaving the number that we want to leave in free cash.
For refresh, yeah.
That's,
we have the recharge, yeah.
That's, I guess we're lucky that we have the money to
Well,
fund.
and it was only a few years ago, Chris could speak to this as well as I can. It was only a few years ago where we didn't have the money in free cash to buy a lot of things, and a lot of stuff got deferred.
Yeah.
And we've just kind of basically got caught back up at this point with a lot of those deferrals. But, and Chris made this point very clear too during the discussion, you look at a simple thing like a front end loader at $350,000 now. What was that number previously?
200.
Yeah. So,
And you'll
not
wait how-
that
you'll
many
wait
years
how
ago.
long?
I mean, that's the scary part about it. So.
And the other thing is, how long will you wait for that front end loader?
Right.
I mean, you order a
Right.
thing, and it's not even, we have items from like last year's capital, I don't think that haven't even arrived yet.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing, the longer we wait, they go up in price, and we wait, it's not like we're gonna get them the next day, we have to wait another year or more for them to be delivered.
Which was the strategic plan that was made on the fire truck, because we knew it was going to take that much longer to
Yeah.
get. So buying it,
Chief told
we're not
us
going
it
to get
was
it for
like-
3 or 4 years.
I was
So
gonna say, I
it's-
thought Chief
we'll
told
be
us
done paying for
like
it.
18 months plus. And if you ordered it by a certain date, like you saved $150,000 by ordering it, so, yeah.
Okay.
That's good. Thank you, everybody involved. All right.
So there should be a motion, I think?
Yeah, there should be a motion on this one.
Motion to approve the FY '26 capital improvement request totaling $5,852,488.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Great job.
Thank you.
very good.
Okay, Paige, you're back up again.
Me now? Okay, well, that means we're getting to the end. All right, so annual town meeting, so I had 34 articles, but we're down to
32.
32 articles. One of the reasons being is we did get the Attorney General's ruling today on our zoning from last town meeting, and the MBTA communities did pass. Accessory dwelling units, they've asked for, a 90-day extension, so that we don't have an answer on that. So Catherine and Barney had put in some placeholders. So she's holding the MBTA placeholder right now because we're still waiting to hear from Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities. The deadline's Thursday, so we'll wait and see. But she had something on for ADUs just in case we had to change anything. We don't, so we pulled that off. We're waiting to hear from Barney if he's going to pull off one. So things are in motion on that. I mentioned, but we have reached a memorandum of understanding with the library union and steelworkers A and B today. The library union was yesterday, steelworkers A and B today, so we will be bringing those, those units have to ratify, and then, assuming they do, we will bring that forward on March 18th. The World Cup planning, as you can imagine, is starting to pick up. We're seeing more and more meetings. I checked in with the police chief yesterday to make sure, because sometimes things come to me, but he said they've got it covered, so I see them, but I don't have to do anything yet, so that's good, but I'm sure that's coming. I'll be speaking to the Friends of Foxborough Seniors on April 19th, so we'll be talking about town meeting, so I'll be doing that. I'm also speaking at the Women Leading Government, which is a subsect of MMA, the Mass Municipal Association. I'll be speaking on Thursday in Rentham at Lake Pearl. They want to know how I ended up in this position, so I got a little story for them. On March 13th, I'll be speaking at the Neponset Valley Chamber of Commerce, their State of the Town events. I already mentioned that the Senior Center's last day is May 2nd, or May 1st, I'm sorry. I think the staff is out May 2nd, so May 1st is actually the closing. May 16th will be grand opening. So stay tuned for more details on that. And let's see, openings, we still have 2 openings on the Personnel Board. They did have a meeting today. And then we still have our Water Tech opening. And then, as mentioned by Maura earlier, for the residents at home, please do consider filling out the master plan survey. Maura is going to add it tomorrow morning to the front page of the website, so you can find it, but please do consider it. It helps establish sort of the vision, goals, and objectives for the community as a whole as they're going to develop, as the town will develop and redevelop. So it's important, and folks who, have any concerns or comments should get it on the survey. And that's all I have.
Did you want to mention the J.C.'s Easter egg?
Oh, sorry.
There's a couple, yeah, in DPW. Not that I want to drag it out, but we have it here, just in case somebody's looking at it at home.
Oh, yeah, sorry, it didn't make it to my little report. That's Katie's magic. Yes, so the J.C.'s are having their Easter egg hunt on April 12th from 1 to 2. And then there'll be a Memorial Day celebration on the Common after the parade on May 26th from 8:30 until noon. They'll be setting up at 8:30.
Okay. All right, select board update. I don't have anything for us. Anybody have anything they want to throw out, or anything they want to mention?
Nope.
Nope. Been a quiet couple of weeks, huh?
Oh, geez, knock on wood. Did you just say that out loud?
I always go here. Okay, so good. No old business. Want to take the action items, Steph?
Sure. Motion to approve a National Grid petition for conduit location to install one JO pole on Moore Street, beginning at a point approximately 575 feet northeast of the center line of the intersection of First Street, parentheses Mansfield, and North Main Street, parentheses Mansfield, and continuing approximately 15 feet in an east direction, install P53 Moore Street, 135 feet south of existing pole P52 Moore Street.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That was a mouthful, huh?
She got another one.
Let's get another one.
Petition, make a motion for petition for conduit location to relocate 2 JO poles on Spring Street, beginning at a point approximately 25 feet east of the center line of the intersection of Hope Avenue and Spring Street, and continuing approximately 370 feet in a north direction. Relocate P46 Spring Street, 40 feet northwest of existing location. Relocate P47 Spring Street, 10 feet northwest of existing location.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve a National Grid petition for conduit location to relocate 2 JO poles on Spring Street, beginning.
Say what-
Is
did you say
that-
what?
is that the one I already did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
1503.
Make a motion for the use of a public way for the Memorial Day Parade on May 26, 2025, at 9:30 a.m. to assemble in the back parking lot of the Church of Emmanuel. Parade to proceed right onto Central Street to South Street and around the Common.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve Select Board meeting minutes from February 18th, 2025.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.